solid draft. Now, would I recommend taking that to the bank? No, like you want to put your own personal touch on it, and really make it your own. And then, any kind of research. Oh, one of my favorite things about ChatGPT is I can plug something into it and help it give me more information about it. So the more information you give it, the more information it can give you, right? So if I'm wanting to learn about a topic that I know nothing about, I even had it actually do this. If I went back to this slide where I said, what is ChatGPT? To help me come up with this definition, I said, please explain ChatGPT to me as if I were an 8-year-old, right? Because that kind of simplifies the term. And so it kind of helped because the first definition I asked it for, I said, what is ChatGPT? And it was like gobbledygook. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. So explain it to me, and I'm an 8-year-old, and it was basically it's an artificial intelligence, and so it actually went a little more basic than that, and I took it back up to your guys' level. But it basically was like, it's like a smart computer, like it's like Alexa or Siri, but more advanced, and you can ask it to help you with stuff, right? And so when it comes to researching, if you want to know the basics about something, you can have it. You teach me about myofunctional therapy, right? So it'll kind of scour the internet and everything that anybody's ever put into it about myofunctional therapy, and it's going to give you a broad overview. So you're going to have a basic education. Now, is it going to give us the specific strategies and tips that Delana does in her program? No, right? And so you're still going to want to work with a professional if you want really high level stuff or digging deep into things. But it's going to help you know what it is, and it's going to help you be more well-rounded in that way. And then writing assistance, this is one that a lot of people are using. So you can use it for everything from helping with the website copy on your website, your social media captions, your social, it can write a transcript for you for what you want to say on a reel. It can write a speech for you if you're going to go give a presentation like this. It can, really just anything that you need writing for. If you want to write an ebook, you want to write a how-to article, a blog post. Again, it's going to spit out something, and then you want to put your touch on it. It's, if you were to just copy paste everything that it put in there, it's probably not going to be, on brand. But you can kind of refine it to be more like your brand. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can put in some of your existing content, and then say, would you describe my voice? And then once you have the prompt for how your voice is, then the next time you go to put it in, you can say, here's I'd like you to create 5 social media posts with this voice, and then you paste what it said your voice was, right? And then the next time you go in, maybe you want to add in okay, well, you put too many emojis. I don't want any emojis, or I only want one emoji. Or, you forgot the hashtags. Okay, well, the next time you go in, you'll say with at least 5 hashtags. And maybe the hashtags are all over the place. So the next time you go in, you might say with 5 hashtags, at least 2 of them that are Wichita focused, right? And that's actually one of my favorite uses for it, is to find hashtags, because hashtags it takes a lot of time to think of hashtags, right? And it's come up with some really cool hashtags. So if you want the hashtags to be focused on a particular thing or a particular location or things like that, it'll help you come up with different ideas. But again, hashtags are something that can get what they call banned, or I forget the word for it. So you do want to kind of cross-reference them, shadow ban or whatever it's called. Yeah, you want to cross-reference it with lists. There are certain hashtags, I think there's kind of a common one that's banned. You'd be kind of surprised by. Somebody was telling me recently.
Hashtag Colorado.
Hashtag Colorado.
Just random.
Yeah, if you put hashtag Colorado, your post is not going to get as big of a reach.
What?
So you might actually find the list of banned hashtags, put it into ChatGPT, and then say, make sure none of my hashtags are on this list, so that you don't have to go down the list, right? And so strategy and goal setting. So you can say, I'm a small business in Wichita, Kansas. I want to reach this target market. Give me some ideas for how to market my business, right? And it'll give you some ideas. Or I need a marketing strategy, or I need a sales strategy, or whatever. And again, is it going to be as high quality as a high paid coach to help you through something? No. You know, are you going to get all the pieces that go into that? No, but it's going to be a good high-level overview, a good place to start. And then problem solving. So, you know, I'm having trouble, you know, finding new prospects for my business. You know, what would be some ways that I could, you know, find new people to work with? I'm having trouble sticking to my budget in my business. Give me some ideas for, you know, cutting out expenses. Like, again, just kind of use it as like a brainstorming buddy. Like, imagine you had a friend that was generally knowledgeable about most things. And you could go to them and say, hey, how do I hook up my internet to the router, to the whatever, you know, and you can try plugging that stuff in. You know, again, it's not an expert, it's a generalist. So it's going to know a lot of little about a lot of things. And then, but it's getting better. The more people plug into it, the more it's learning, right? So project management. So if you have like, I like to put my to-do list in there, give it my entire to-do list, and be like, help me prioritize this. And I might give it a framework, like help me prioritize this according to the Eisenhower matrix. So what are things that I should do? What are things I should delegate? What are things that I should forget about because they're not really that important? And what are things I should, you know, whatever the other one on that is. And then writing code, one of my favorite ones. So I used to work in website design development, and I know enough to be dangerous. So I can go in and like change colors on my website, and then I'll mess something up and then I don't know how to fix it. So that's kind of how I get it with coding. If it's drag and drop, I'm good. I can do that all day long. But if I get into the coding, I'll mess something up. And so what you can do is you can say like, you could take an existing code and you could plug it in and you could say, hey, fix this code for me. And it'll spit back the correct code for you. Or you could say, I'm trying to change the color on my website to this hex code, right? Here's the existing code. Can you replace it so that it makes sure it puts it in the right places? You're not going to put it in the wrong places. Or it might even say, like, I'm trying to change the hex code on or the color on my website to this. I have no idea what code to do. Can you help me? And it'll try, you know, based on like what you have. So you might need to tell it, oh, I have WordPress, or I have, you know, Squarespace or whatever. Or it might even send you instructions from Squarespace's website or something like that. So I found that to be pretty handy with code and fixing code. You can even have it do an entire website from code. Just like create me a website for a wedding planner in Wichita, Kansas. The name of the business is this, and I focus on this target market. And it'll give you an entire code that if you plugged into the HTML version of any of these major website platforms, it would be a website. Now, would you know how to fix it or how to change anything about it? Probably not. But it's still kind of cool. If you don't need to have something be perfect, it's a good option for like a quick, fast, and dirty thing. And then creating Excel formulas. So I also like taking like a bunch of data, like a ton of data, and plugging it in there and saying, put this into an Excel spreadsheet for me and have these be the columns and these be the rows or something. And instead of spending your time like plugging it in, or you might say like, here's an Excel spreadsheet of like these names. I need the first and last name separated. There's a way to do that on Excel, but you got to go down the research rabbit hole, and then you're doing 5 other things, and then you got this thing stuff. You know, have it do some of that stuff that you would have gone down that research rabbit hole on. Have it just give you a quick answer so you can move on. Yeah, the data analysis. You could also plug in a piece of data and say, you know, tell me how many times the name Karen appears in this giant document or something. Or, you know, you can have it do some of that stuff. I have had it try to do some math, and it's messed up. So it's not perfect. So again, you want to fact check yourself and do your work. And sometimes if you have it spit out a lot of data, it'll stop in the middle of the data, like, and you'll have to say, please continue or something. I've had it say, like, give me 30 social media posts, and it'll stop at 15. I'm like, ugh, please continue. And sometimes it'll say, like, what would you like help with? I'm like, yeah. It's all has to copy it. It's like, continue from here. You know, so again, it's a robot. Like, it's not a human, so it's not going to be perfect. And then you can also do customer support. So this can get really intricate. So there's a lot of different companies, because this is open AI, it's like open for anybody to use currently. A lot of companies have used it within their businesses. And so there's like chatbots that they've created that will respond to your customer and help them book a date on your calendar. and do that kind of like customer service communication for you, or like handle your email inbox and do customer communication. It can get pretty complicated, but there is a way to do that. And then I think it's also like a little mini business coach / therapist. So I say therapist in quotes, right? But for real, think about the power of this. Okay, imagine somebody that is like really depressed, okay, and they're embarrassed to reach out to their friend, and it's too many steps to try to find a therapist, and sometimes it's really hard to find a therapist, right? Like people are booked out, or insurance won't cover it, or you don't have insurance, or whatever. It's just too many steps to get there. You could go into a chat GPT and say, I'm feeling sad, can you help me? And it'll say, have you tried this? And it'll maybe give them a list of like, drink some water, like call a friend, or, just kind of that basic stuff that sometimes you can't think through if you're in that type of situation. Or, just like solving those little mini problems. Like if you remember Ask Jeeves back in the day, when people would like plug in a question to like Google basically. And I remember I had to teach my mom to stop plugging in questions, like once Google. I was like, you don't have to do the whole question, Mom. You can just like say your keywords. But you can basically kind of go back to that model of like asking it questions. This one functions better with questions because it's kind of that real conversational piece. So thinking about all the ways that you can use it, not just in your business, but in your life as well. So you can have it create like a meal plan. Like if you have a list of foods that you like and a list of foods that you don't like, you can have it create a meal plan. Again, it's not perfect and it's not as good as having somebody like Mary create a meal plan for you, but it's going to give you some basics and,
I do use it to give me little hints.
That's awesome, yeah. And I love it. It'll help come up with creative ideas. So, like, I think of Mary, how she labels the different items, food items and things. If she were to come up with, like, give me a name for a muffin that has saffron and something else in it or whatever, it'll come up with a creative name. Again, you'll have to brainstorm and kind of go back and forth with it, but it's a good starting place and can kind of jumpstart your creativity. Like I know I'm not the kind of artist or writer that can look at just a blank piece of paper and start. Like I have to have something to go off of. That's why it works really well for me to like talk to somebody about their business. They tell me their vision, their ideas, and then I had somebody tell me one time, it's like you're writing from the inside of my head. And I think that's kind of cool, but it's like I can start with something and mold it into something else. So again, having that like clay form that you then get to take your personal touch on. And so why should you use it? I mean, all the savings, right? Saving time, saving money, saving energy. What you used to have to pay somebody to do like very basic data entry or organizing of information, or just some of the things that it's like you feel like you couldn't do anything without paying somebody for something, right? It's like you're either doing it yourself or you're paying somebody else. This is a great place for when you're not in the position to pay for every little thing that you're doing. Like you can't afford to have a virtual assistant yet, right? Like you're still on your own, you're trying to build your stuff. This is your virtual assistant, right? And it's like kind of like not the smartest always virtual assistant, it doesn't do everything perfect, but it's better than you doing it because you don't have the time to do it, or paying for someone else to do it because you don't have the money to do that. So it's a great thing for that position. So how much does it cost? It's currently free because it's in beta. It's like anything else though, right? Like nobody owes us anything for free. So at some point it might be something that we pay for, just like social media when it started out was free. And now as a business, you're not going to get reach for free anymore. Like if you want reach, you're going to pay for it. And I think that's totally fair because it's their business and we're playing in their playground, right? And nobody owes you anything for free really. So there is a paid version. I subscribe to the paid version just because I don't like to be constrained by limits. A lot of entrepreneurs are that way. It's like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me. I have to stop. I'm going to keep going. So I think the paid version is like $20 a month. It's not crazy. But it allows you to continue working on it when it's tapped out by all the free versions. So like when they do a big news story on it, if you try to get on there right after a big news story, it'll say, sorry, there's too many users on here. The paid version kind of jumps that. And it also gives you the more developed version. So The free version is, I think, the either 2.5 or 3.0 or something, and the paid version, I believe, is the 4.0. So it's like the next version that they're working on. Okay, so we're going to get into how it works, and I'll actually show you. Raise your hand. Have you used ChatGPT before already? Okay, a lot of you have. Okay, so something I didn't realize when I first got into it was that there's so many different companies that have already started using it within their own company that if you just try to search for ChatGPT, you might end up on somebody else's page. It's kind of like when you're trying to look for a website and then all the ads pop up before you the website, and you might click on the wrong thing, and then you're in somebody else's playground. So the actual one I'll show you how to get to in a minute, but this is it. And so I thought we could just play around with some different things. So raise your hand if you have something you want us to try in here. Something for your business. Yeah, here.
Armenian desserts.
The what?
Armenian
desserts. Okay, I like it. All right. Please give me 10 different Armenian. Is that spell that? A-R-M-E-N-I-A-N. Oh, you guys can't really see it.
I love that you wrote please.
Oh yeah.
You can say okay to it.
Yeah.
You tell it thank you. It'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, so glad I can help.
So I'm a big believer in using politeness with AI. One day they might take over the world. And you know what? You know what? They're gonna be nice to me. I know that sounds kind of morbid, but like I'm kind of like I was kind of the same way in high school. This is kind of morbid, but like you know the kid that like no one was nice to, and like you know they were kind of like really nerdy and not whatever, they were kind of weird. I was always super nice to them. One, because I know what it feels like to not be treated well, but also you guys, if someone goes postal one day, they're gonna walk right past me. So, I know.
I thought you were talking about you were the nerd.
No, I was like a smart, nice, quiet girl. Like I wasn't like popular, but I was like people weren't mean to me.
Also, the nerd is the guy or girl that's going to graduate from high school and go into amazing stuff. So you have to be friends with them.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we've got baklava, and it tells me what it is. A popular sweet pastry made with layers of phyllo dough. Phyllo dough, filled with chopped nuts and sweetened with syrup or honey. Gata, Armenian nutmeg cake. Kadeh, sorry, warma, Nazuk, shirkura, and etc. Okay, so then if I want to take these and I'm going to say, okay, and I usually say thank you. Thanks. Please give me the recipe for 1 through 5. Okay, so now here we go. Here's all like that. Yeah. Isn't that cool? And then if you wanted to, you could say, so we'll do that next. And so if you're kind of
on this, and as Andrea was saying, sometimes the recipes are not fully accurate. You need to read them very carefully.
yeah, and you might want to cross-reference it with what you know. If you're like, no, you're totally on the wrong track. Stop wasting my time. You just hit stop generating. And it's like, okay, fine, I'll stop. And then you say, please put these 10 recipes into a schedule for the next month. I don't know. So week 1, we're going to have baklava and gata. Week 2, we're going to have Armenian nutmeg cake and kadeh, etc. And then you could even say like, okay, now help me find like a dinner, the Armenian themed dinner to pair with these. Now help me pair a wine with each one of these, right? So you can kind of have it be like your like mini event planner, right? Again, it's not going to do like, it's not going to have the knowledge, the deep knowledge that someone in that industry would have, or know how to input and things, but general stuff. So, okay, coming up.
I want to write a poem about the hive of Wichita color.
cool.
Okay.
Mandy helped me write a Willie Nelson song the other day. It was really awesome.
It was so good.
Okay, so if you're going on to a completely different topic, do a new chat because I don't want it to have like Armenian flavor in my song, unless I want it to. So I like to go to a new topic because then if I ever want to go back and talk about that, like say I've built an entire chat around the hive, I want to go back and get something else about the hive, I don't have to do quite as much work because it can go off of the information that it's already curated about that. So I've got one somewhere down further, but it's been a while. So I own a women-focused co-working space in Wichita, Kansas, called The Hive. Please write a poem about my business. We'll just try that. See what happens. In Wichita's heart, where dreams take flight. That's Mandy's stuff right there. I did do some captions for you.
Yes.
Their life is space bathed in golden light. A sanctuary of strength and grace where women gather a harmonious embrace. Welcome to the Hive, a dwelling divine where dreams and ambitions intertwine. A co-working haven designed with care, a sanctuary. It said sanctuary again. See, It's not a human. Where women's visions stare. Within these walls, an atmosphere sweet like these. Okay. Where talent and passion converge to meet. The air buzzes with creative zeal, a symphony of minds and artistic reel. Entrepreneurs, innovators abound. In this hive, sisterhood is found. A tapestry woven with support and trust. A refuge where dreams are built and thrust. That's a little masculine. The walls breathe stories whispered and shared of triumphs and failures, all courage declared. Empowerment echoes in every sound as dreams take flight, leaving the ground, etc. So I might go in and say like, "That's really beautiful, thank you. Could you like make it a little bit shorter?" Or I would like to use like, this other style of poetry, or I definitely want to make sure to include this piece. Like, make sure you say something about this. So you kind of like riff back and forth with it. But again, it's an AI, it's not a human. So you're gonna like sometimes when we were doing the last workshop, it came up with some real cheesy stuff. So you might have to be like, I've literally told it like I need these to be less cheesy. And it's like, okay. That was a pretty poem. I think I'm gonna save that one.
Oh, I have an idea. Everyone should get ChatGPT to write a poem about your business. Send it to me. I'll put it in a book.
Oh,
The Hive ChatGPT book.
I don't know where your note. I can't work what am I trying to say? PCs.
So how do you save the chat then?
So it saves it automatically, but you can like retitle it whatever you want. So I'll title this poem. That way I can find it again. Poem Hive. So you can like title the little sections over there on the left, like whatever you want, and it'll save them all. Like if I go down, like it's literally everything I've done. So it's kind of cool. Okay, what else? Let's try another one. What's on your to-do list?
I'm just in general have problems telling it how to write in my voice.
Have you tried like copying a few captions that you've done in the past, or some of your website copy?
Oh, that's a good question. How do you put these in?
I said use some of these words. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you put examples of, how would she do that? How would she put
Yeah,
examples
so
of
let's
her
try
voice
that.
in?
Okay, we're gonna do Dawn. So we're gonna go to Instagram. Or do you want me to go to your website or Instagram for like finding examples in your voice?
I'm so scared.
I feel like you have more. I feel like you have more words on your website.
What's funny is I went to my website yesterday. I was like, I don't remember writing that. I think I really didn't.
Okay, so let's go to. Okay, let's go to your about. So I would take this.
And they can't see it, but
Oh,
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's just
okay,
somewhere in
sorry.
town.
I'm on her website. I went to her about section, and I'm just going to copy the text from there. And again, I'm going to go to a new chat so that it's like her business, not mine. And I'm going to say, okay, I am a graphic designer. Here is an example of my voice. Hold on. Sometimes I'll say I'm a graphic designer. I would like you to help me describe my voice in a minute. I am going to send you an example. Understand? So if you have like a longer thing, or it's like hard to like give them an example and then ask it something, sometimes if you give like a long piece of text and then you ask something, it doesn't really know the difference between the example you're giving and the question you're asking, right? And so sometimes I'll do that. I'll like make sure it understands, and then I'll do it. So absolutely, I'd be happy to assist you. Like, describe your voice based on an example. Okay, so here we go. So then I'm going to paste it in there. And it's going to say, based on the provided information, here's a description of your voice. Your voice reflects a combination of vulnerability and strength. You express a deep sensitivity, feeling things intensely, which can sometimes make it challenging for you to comfortably engage in social settings. Despite having background in musical performance during college, you still experience fear when it comes to standing up, standing out, and promoting your business. However, you possess a wonderful sense of humor and readily find joy in making others laugh. You're gonna cry? I know. Now, for those of us who know dogs, like. You have a thirst for knowledge and a love for expanding your horizons. While reading requires significant concentration and effort, you compensate by immersing yourself in alternative forms of learning, such as watching TED Talks. So how I think about it is, I think it's just a really good listener. Any human would be able to extrapolate the same information from that same piece of text that it gave, if you read, if we were actually listening.
Right.
But a lot of us are thinking about our own stories. We're thinking about how we relate to her, and we're not, our job is not to like summarize her personality in that way, right? But if you were really focusing, and I told you, I want you to describe Dawn's voice, and then I read that to you, you would get a really similar type of, response, especially those of you who know her a little bit better. So anyway, and then it kind of goes over. So I basically say, for that, I would probably like, please summarize my voice in a single paragraph that I could use to prompt you in the future to help me with my business content. Right? So, because that's too much, we can't use that. So then I ask it to help me help you, right? Basically, I'm like, what do you need from me? So capture the essence of my voice as a graphic designer and creative entrepreneur. I am a harmonious blend of vulnerability and strength with a deep sensitivity and a knack for finding humor in life. With social situations can be challenging for me, blah, blah, blah. And so I would copy that, and then I would save that somewhere. You might even title this like soul style creative voice, and then that way you can go back to that one like whenever you need to prompt it, right? And so you basically say, okay, thank you, now please create, we'll do 10 social media posts for my business based on this voice. I need to promote my website design services, right?
Do you need to be specific by channel, or do they?
I usually just say social media posts, but sometimes I'll say Instagram. Just it depends. And then I'll usually give some criteria, like please make these between 150 and 250 characters. Please include 5 hashtags. Make 2 of them local, to Wichita, Kansas. And please only use 1 emoji per thing, because sometimes we use kind of emoji copy. But we'll just see what it comes up with. Usually it'll do it a little shorter if I don't give it.
They are.
Oh, look at emoji happy. Emoji happy. Okay.
If you say it.
So my social media post is giving you the caption, it doesn't
Yes,
necessarily.
Yeah, so, but then you can say, so I usually do, it'll give me captions, and then if you want, so for example, captivate your audience with stunning websites that reflect your unique brand identity. As a graphic designer and web expert, I empower entrepreneurs to stand out online. Let's create a digital masterpiece together. And then sometimes it'll get a little bit repetitive. So like, try to find an example. Like, it's like they all end with what? Let's dominate the digital world together. Let's make your brand shine online. Let's get started. Together we'll make sure your online presence, let's take your online presence to the next level. So even though I use it to help me, I'll still go back through and like make sure that they're all unique and different and that they reflect the brand voice. But sometimes I like that it gives me the emojis because I'm like, oh my gosh, that would take me forever to find that laptop emoji or to find that whatever. And so I'll use some of them, but it gets emoji happy. And then it will also like repeat a lot of hashtags. So like, and you can see every single one of them says website design. And then it's like digital oracle, digital dominance, global impact. So kind of have to take it with a grain of salt sometimes. So sometimes you can say like, these are great. Please remove some of the emojis and make them more unique, or make sure that each one is completely different. So you kind of go back and forth on that. And then what you could do then is you could say, great, I want to make sure my social media has a variety of reels, like videos, graphics, images, carousel, thank you. Carousels, etc. Please give me 10 ideas for the imagery of my next 10 posts. Yeah. Well, this one doesn't, but it'll give me an idea. So, like, create a carousel post showcasing before and after snapshots of a website you redesigned, highlighting the transformation and improvement you brought to your clients' online presence. Design a visually appealing graphic featuring a quote about the power of great design. Share a behind-the-scenes reel capturing snippets of your creative process, showing how you bring ideas to life. Create a captivating video reel demonstrating the user experience of navigating a website you designed, showcasing its seamless functionality and intuitive interface. Eye-catching graphic featuring statistics or data on the importance of having a visually appealing website. So it'll kind of like give you an idea, and then you can take that and create your own content. There are AIs that will do imagery. I found they're not very good. If you're just playing,
when you put video in, does it chop it up and make the reels?
there are some. So there's one that I used to do that. So there's all sorts of AIs now. So there's AIs that you can go on and say like I used one recently where I upload a video and it chops it up into like 10 different videos and it gives me like the captions on there and stuff. I found they don't perform as well on Instagram as like content that you've created on there. I don't know, it can tell.
What platform was it?
I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I can put it in the comments of the event so you guys can see. But it's I found that the imagery is more just fun to play with. Like I did one where it created I can show you. Well, no, I don't have it on here. No, you have access to my Google Photos, right?
Yeah.
Have you used the Canva AI?
Yeah, I actually used it today on this presentation.
Canva has AI too.
Yeah, so I can show you that in a minute. Let me find.
I used images for one of our books. It was like a kid's book about a lizard and stuff.
Yeah, so
And like it's weird. Like
they're weird. Yeah,
Like
I'll show you. It's strange.
or give me a picture of like a horse and carriage. And so it was a horse and carriage, but then there was like a little horse sitting inside as well.
Yeah. And what I found is you cannot get consistent. So like if you're doing a children's book, like you can't get like everyone to look consistent.
Yeah.
So what it does is it curates images from all across the web that are open source, like free images, and then it puts them together. And then, so sometimes if you're doing people, they'll have like weird things happening with their faces. So this is what I did. I gave it like, it asked for like 5 or 10 headshots of me, and then it like created me in different AI. So it's like a queen or like a whatever. And so, I mean, you know, some of them were weird. I didn't say the ones that were weird, but like, you know, it's me, but it's not me. You know, it's like AI version of me. So like, if I were to actually like, yeah, it's like sometimes some of them like what happened is like it's weird because it's like merging different images from the web with yours. So it's not perfect, or like the eyes are usually kind of weird. Like you can tell like they're not looking the right direction or something. So. Yeah. So, okay, we'll go back to here. Go back to my presentation. Where? Help me. So yeah, there's one called Dolly. It's the most popular one for imagery. I think the people who figured out how to prompt it are doing really cool things on it. I haven't quite figured out the prompting. I'm not an artist, so I haven't quite figured out. It's DALLE or DALEE, one of those.
Did you say presentation or okay?
Yeah. So if you know how to prompt it, like if you have an art background, then you'll say, I want a pen and ink drawing of a cat sitting on a couch looking disgruntled or something, right? Then you might get what you want. But I feel like I've had to play with it quite a bit to get what I want, and then I can't recreate it. Like if I wanted to take the same cat and then have it be like driving in a car down the highway, it looks like a totally different cat, and it's a totally different style of artwork. So I haven't quite figured it out, but there's cool stuff that you can do with it. I did see one guy, he did an entire children's book and was able to get the person consistent throughout, and it was pretty cool. Oh, did he get in trouble?
Well, he didn't get in trouble, but people were super mad. I think he made like $1 million, and it was like crazy.
Wow, yeah.
And they were like, what? You didn't do it? No, I did it in 10 minutes.
I think he was, well, the guy I read about was clear from the beginning that it was AI. Yeah, so I think,
Why do people care though?
Yeah, exactly.
well, a lot of artists are getting really upset because their work is online and they're saying that their work was never open source, and that they know that it's pulling from their style. Like it's like one of the things you can do with the writing is you can say, and I actually use this a lot because our clientele, almost all of our members and prospective members like know who Brené Brown is, and they've read some of her work. Like it's all about the power of vulnerability and authenticity and stuff like that. And so because of a lot of our messaging is around that, I'll use her as inspiration. So I'll say, please write a post about such and such in the style of Brené Brown. And what it'll do is it'll pull everything from the internet that it has access to that Brené Brown has written or that anybody has posted about quotes by her and things like that. And it'll use that to figure out her voice, and then it'll create something in her voice, right? And so I sort of, again, I'm of the opinion of like, that's always been accessible to everyone. So like a human artist could use inspiration from other artists to create art. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's nobody owns anything, in my opinion. Like there really is, like we pull inspiration from so many sources, and music and musicians are constantly copying each other and like ripping off of each other and using it to inspire their work and things like that. And so I sort of feel like just because robots are able to do it a little bit more perfectly, maybe than humans are, I don't think it's right to flat out steal work. And that's what some people are saying. It looks like exactly like their work or something. But again, I think it's a lot of times it's the style of the work rather than the work itself, and that style is influenced by many different styles. So, okay, so I want you guys to actually try it if you haven't. So you can get it on your phone as well if you've only played with it on a desktop. So if you scan that QR code, there's lots of people selling like app versions of like ChatGPT or AI, but a lot of them make you pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. So if you just use a browser version on your phone, you can just have it, like I'll like pin it to where it's on my desktop on my phone so I can go into that version. Yeah, so, and then this is kind of the time for you guys to work through it, but I also just, so that you can take the rest of the time to work through it. I just wanted to go ahead and say, once you're feeling confident, I'm going to challenge you to take a selfie with someone at your table. So once you guys have kind of played with it a little bit together, share your experience on social media about working with ChatGPT. And one way that you plan to use it in your day-to-day is tag us and talk about the lunch and learn if you can. And as I mentioned, there's other AI apps to try. I was kind of playing with ChatSonic a little bit today. It is a paid version. I think they let you play with it for free for a little bit, like most things, and then it's a paid version. Supposedly, it combines ChatGPT and DALL-E and like some other ones so that you can do it all in one. And supposedly, they're using like more advanced technology and it's better. I don't know, whatever. So that's one option. DALL-E is the artwork one that I mentioned. DALL-E is weird. Sometimes when technology comes out, you get in like we're in like the beta phase, right? You guys knowing about ChatGPT, you're like in the gold rush era, okay? So most people, they might have heard it on the news, but they're never going to investigate it themselves. So by you getting in there and even playing with it at all, like you're like, it's like you drove west and you're like out there in the Wild West, okay? But it's still the Wild West. And so you're still gonna encounter a lot of very like techie stuff. So if you go in and try to play with DALL-E, they might have you go into like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this weird platform where you go in and you have to like go to a particular thread and like type in this very specific coding thing and then do this thing. It's like coding for a website. So I went down the rabbit hole a little bit and it can be a time suck. So I like to just use the regular ChatGPT. Anytime I find myself going down a rabbit hole, I stop and I'm like, okay, let me plug this into ChatGPT, see if it can answer my question easily. Or anytime again, I try going down a rabbit hole on a spreadsheet or whatever. Oh wait, is there an easier way to do this? Oh wait, is there an easier way to do this? And kind of just pull yourself back. Because you as a human don't need to be spending your time anymore. It's like when laundry machines were invented, right? Or the dishwasher. It's like our grandmothers and great grandmothers had to hand wash everything. And that took a lot of time. Or, before we had microwaves or ovens or whatever. It's like that stuff, picking the water from the river and like hauling it and then making bathtubs that way. So that stuff takes a lot of time. And so I see this as like, it's allowing humans to move further into using our minds for the things that only humans can do. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a time saver so that we can now elevate to the next level.
So walking versus driving.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, when I'm cooking, I listen to a lot of scientific lectures, and scientists are saying this is the thing that's going to help us evolve to the next level of what humans can be.
Yeah.
So
I think so, because we're not going to be wasting our time on. And imagine what this means for like people all over the world who now have access not only to the internet, where you had to like kind of know a little bit about what you were wanting in order to find it. Like they can plug a question into this, and they're getting like the level of education that you used to have a master's degree or a doctorate to find out some of this information, right? And people are able to, you could use this almost as exclusively like an education to build yourself up. If you're in a country where you have access to internet but not access to education, or like, a lot of maybe women around the world who are, kept from higher education in that way. I just see it as a beautiful way for people in poverty to access different levels of education that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten. So I think that's really cool too.
Question. So your example of giving students a writing prompt. So if 30 students say, I need to write a paper on, will it give all 30 different ones, or would it two?
So I think I can't say that it's going to always be completely unique. Like there is going to be a lot of repetition. So, if they're all logged into their own account, I don't know. That's something I haven't really played with. But it's going to, like, you can always then plug them all in together and say, make sure that these are all completely different or something. Like if I have multiple things, I'll always have it kind of cross-reference. Like make sure these are all completely unique. Like I don't want any of them to have overlap. So I'll use it to cross-reference itself, but I can't guarantee that it's always going to give something completely unique. I don't know. Yeah. So, but the
I will tell you, it will lie to you. Like straight up, and then you say, that is a lie, and it says, I am so sorry, I apologize, but I don't think it's sorry.
just say sorry, but sorry.
The thing about it is that it has access to most everything everything on the internet, and there's a lot of lies on the internet. So again, it's like that's why you as a human have to use your brain to cross-reference things.
Exactly.
Because I mean, gosh, think of the entire internet. Like, would you believe every mommy blogger out there, or every random dude in their grandparents' basement, or?
It's not just based on an encyclopedia, which you can pretty much guarantee that someone has gone through the encyclopedia. It's going through the whole internet. So yeah, it's
It's a good basis. And then you've got to do the brain work yourself.
it's amazing.
It's great for
Don't
finding
never
like.
say, well, GPT told me that.
I looked it up on Wikipedia.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's like, well, that's not a credible source.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT though can give you sources. So you can say, give me 10 websites that would be credible sources on the topic of. And then you can go to those websites, find your own data and information, verify that they're credible sources. Or like, I need 10 statistics about like, women in business or something. And then I would take those statistics and verify them. Like, I'm going to go and make sure that that's a real statistic and where I can actually find it.
Right.
So again, like cross-referencing.
Can you put the QR code up?
Yeah.
I don't know on its own.
And then I want to show you guys one more thing after she answers that. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say, I had watched the video and we had talked about it, but you can like ask it to ask you the questions that it needs, the information. So like, I said, ask me 20, I have this business and in a minute I'm gonna ask you to create this content for me, blog posts, social media posts, like whatever. Go ahead and ask me 20 questions that would make you understand my business and my voice better.
Yeah.
And so then it gave me 20 questions. So then you just go in and you put 1 and you answer it, 2 and you answer it, 3, and so you go through the whole thing. And like once you go through that, again, as long as you're going to create that post that's relative to that business or whatever, and you go back into that chat, it's gonna talk more in that voice.
That's good. And if you can even do it even simpler than that. You can just say, I want you to create 10 social media posts for me. What do you need to know from me in order to do that? So you don't even have to say like 20 questions or whatever. They might not need to know. Don't do more work than you have to, right? So if you only need to know 3 things, that's a great example though. Like let it help you to help it. So, yeah. Okay, so,
Your bathroom is
I told you guys it'd be Instagrammable, and Jess Dunnigan is doing the artwork in the stalls. She's not done yet, but there's a few murals coming together in there. And we are going to be doing our donor wall in there, so if you've donated to the donor wall, we are planning to put it on to the right of the sinks. There'll be some like wooden honeycombs with names and business names, so if you still want to be on the donor wall, you can. It'll be up there forever.
And how much is that?
It's $100 per tile if you want just a general tile. If you want a like prime zone tile, like if somebody was taking a selfie, like what would be behind them, that one's $300. Okay, so one way to level up your business, we have integrated ChatGPT into this a little bit. If you haven't heard yet, we've launched a software called BFF and Biz. It's full transparency. It's a white labeled version of another software. I did not fully develop the software on my own. That's crazy. Again, work smarter, not harder. It does a lot of things. Just a few of the things that it does. It will do your email marketing. It's a CRM, so you can manage all your clients, take notes about them, see what appointments they booked with you, see where they are in your pipeline. You can have it be your calendar booking system. So far it replaces like, MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever you're using for email. It replaces the CRM if you're using something else for that. It replaces the calendar, so it replaces 3 apps so far on that. And then social media scheduling and tracking, so a 4th app if you're using something for that. And then I have right now it's a real easy like link within there to ChatGPT, but we also have integrated it in some ways within the software itself, and there'll be more to come on that. And then it does have a mobile app version, so that costs a lot to have an app if you wanted to have an app for all of those things like together in one. It does so much more too. I try not to overwhelm people on it, but it will do funnels and landing pages and membership sites and affiliate programs and forms and surveys and client contracts, all sorts of things. So If you're interested in learning more about that, our public price is $197 a month. The Hive members are getting a discount currently. It's our beta price of $97 a month. That will be ending probably in August. Anybody who's in it now will get locked in for the life of their business, and they're at that price. But it will be going up to $147 at some point for Hive members. So you'll still get a discount, but not quite as much as the full. So if you're interested in that, just let me or Jessica or Sana know, and we can get you connected and show you what it is. But without further ado, any questions about ChatGPT?
I'm sorry, did you say you could show us Canva AI?
Oh yes, let me show you. So just
It is 101, just saying.
okay, yeah. If anybody
Okay,
needs to
sorry.
leave, it is 101. So in Canva, just go to the presentation. Yeah. So if you click on this this little star down here, you'll see that I can have a magic design. So go ahead and click that. It's kind of like a ChatGPT. So you try it out and you basically say like, what do you want your presentation to be about? So let's say we're going to do a presentation about like making balloon garlands. I don't know. I just saw a balloon garland.
It needs 2 more words.
For businesses. Okay, so it will create a presentation for me. And obviously, again, this is a computer creating it, so you're still going to want to add your personal photos, your personal touch. But if you go scroll down on this side, so it says like under our expertise, we're here to help businesses create fun and colorful atmosphere with our expert balloon garland designs. Let us bring joy into your space. And then scroll down. Our consultation to discuss design and color options. So blah, blah. It's a little bit more like promo-y, but it'll talk about like the benefits. And so it pulls like basic information about a balloon garland business, and then you want to plug yours in. But it's a great place to start rather than having to manually go through each slide and create your own. So if you access that, that's like one way you can do it. And you can apply like your own branding style and change the different styles. One thing other you can do is you can have it like magic write, like fill in some stuff for you. So that's kind of similar. But you write out. So again, like what are you trying to write? Just use 5 words for an example, and it will kind of fill it in for you. And then what else you can do? Scroll down. You can like see the graphics. It's pulling other graphics based on what I've already put in here that might be like good to use. And then what else?
So it can build like Instagram graphics for me, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I mean, it could probably like you basically put like an idea of what you're wanting, and then it'll kind of go from there. Again, it's not perfect, but it's better. I think again, it's a time saver, and so then you can use that to really then create your own. And now I'm not spending 5 minutes scrolling through graphics and trying to find one. I can just say, give me some more graphics today. And if you don't know, there is a cool way to like change out your design. So if we go over here on templates, I think. What were they doing it earlier? Is it styles? Under where it's like templates, layout styles. Click on styles. Okay, so if I click on the brand colors, it will cycle through my brand colors. So if I want to see what it looks like with a different one of my colors, isn't that cool? And then if you like it, then you can apply it to the other ones as well, and it'll automatically change it rather than you manually going in and changing each color, each whatever. So that's pretty cool. So lots of time savers with AI. So again, helping us go to the next level. Very excited. Other questions? Yeah. Okay, take your selfie with somebody near you and